Today on Public Eye News, Munising School introduces new bond proposal and Michigan starts new driving program.
Elijah Clordy tells us if our warm fall weather is going to stick around, and Max Stevens will have a look at the highs and lows of this past sports weekend. I'm Dan Campanen.
I'm Mason Wallace, and this is your Public Eye News. Sentencing date has been set for Marquette teen after pleading guilty to 2 charges of malicious destruction of property. 19-year-old Justin Zybert was arrested in April with 2 other males for allegedly shooting out car windows in Marquette and Marquette Township using an air rifle. Jay Oberg and Seth Gustafson also pleaded guilty to 2 counts of malicious destruction of property. In total, there were over 30 reports of vehicles, houses, and buildings being damaged. And detectives from the Upper Peninsula Substance Enforcement Team conducted a search warrant in a residence on Pennsylvania Avenue in the village of Ontonagon on Friday, October 13th. More than 8 ounces of methamphetamine was seized in addition to $3,000 in cash and a loaded handgun. The investigation is continuing with no arrests at this time, and the case is being reviewed by the Ontonagon County Prosecutor's Office.
The CLK School District Board of Education has announced its new superintendent. Calumet High School Principal Christopher Davidson has been named to take over the office. Davidson commends former Superintendent Daryl Pierce for his excellent service over the past 13 years. The announcement to appoint Davidson was made at the district board meeting last week. Davidson will be the 12th superintendent in the district's 150 years of existence. A new principal of Calumet High has not yet been named. And after the previous taxpayers voted down a previous bond proposal by almost a 3-to-1 margin in May of 2016, the Munising Public Schools created a new proposal and it was approved by the school board. The new bond is asking for 2.29 mils, almost a full mil less than the rejected bond. All of the changes the district would implement revolve around 3 key ideas: keeping students safe, warm, and dry. Some of the enhancements include increasing security at the entrance of the Mather Elementary, resurfacing the parking lot at the high school and middle school, upgrading the HVAC systems, and repairing leaking roofs at both buildings. More information on the proposal can be found at munisingschools.com.
And every high school student in Michigan now has the opportunity to make their fellow teens better drivers by participating in the Strive for a Safe Driver program. The program is a public-private partnership between Ford Driving Skills for Life and the Michigan Office of Highway Safety Planning, which aims to reduce the leading cause of death for teens, which is traffic crashes. In 2016, a total of 44,000 crashes occurred in Michigan with a driver range of 15 to 19. Those crashes caused 116 fatalities and 829 serious injuries. The campaign topics will include distracted driving, seatbelts, underage drinking, speeding, and winter driving. And Michigan Governor Rick Snyder is standing by his congressional testimony on when he learned about a fatal outbreak of Legionnaire's disease in the midst of the Flint water crisis. One of Snyder's senior aides has recently disclosed that he informed the governor several weeks earlier. The Snyder administration's handling of the outbreak has led to 6 people charged with involuntary manslaughter, including Health Department Director Nick Lyon. The governor has not been charged with any wrongdoing at this time. And right after the break, we'll be back with your national and international news. Stay with us.
We did not ever think this would happen to our family.
It is an addictive opioid drug.
Opioids, first introduced as a new class of pain relief for millions of Americans. But now, people are dying every day from a heroin overdose, stemming from an initial use of opioid prescriptions. Join the National Medical Series Second Opinion for a 1-hour special, Overdose, Inside the Epidemic.
Tonight at 10 after Antiques Roadshow on Public TV 13.
Welcome back. In a big defeat for Democratic Senator Bob Menendez, the judge in his corruption trial today refused to throw out any of the charges against him in light of a U.S. Supreme Court ruling narrowing the definition of bribery. The decision by U.S. District Court Judge Williams Walz was a major victory for federal prosecutors, who had warned that dismissing the charges would torpedo nearly all other bribery cases and open the door wide to graft. Walz rejected defense lawyers' arguments that the allegations against Menendez didn't meet the new, narrower definition of bribery under the 2016 Supreme Court ruling. Menendez is charged with accepting free flights on a private jet, luxury hotel stays, and other gifts from a wealthy Florida eye doctor over a 7-year period. In exchange, prosecutors say he pressured government officials on Melgen's behalf for an $8.9 million Medicare billing dispute and a contract to provide port screening equipment in the Dominican Republic. And it's been a week since devastating wildfires broke out across Northern California, claiming at least 40 lives. Fire officials say they've finally started to get a handle on some of the pockets of flames. As a result, some residents are being allowed back to survey the damage done to their homes. Seth Lemon is in New York with the latest.
It's been 1 week since massive wildfires started burning their way through Northern California. Fire officials say they believe they've finally turned a corner. Thanks to dying winds and more personnel, they're starting to gain control over some spots.
They're not going down easy, but we are getting them, and we feel a lot better about that.
Officials say 2 of the 3 most destructive fires are now more than half contained.
Oh my God, I can't believe this.
Some residents are finally being allowed to return to their homes. 68-year-old Christina Schott of Napa among those shocked by how little is left.
It was really magical. Everybody loved coming and eating outside with all the shrubbery. I hope I can save those oaks.
This local assistance center has been set up in hard-hit Santa Rosa. It's to give residents access to FEMA, utility companies, all sorts of resources that could help many here figure out how to restart from scratch.
There's so much information in there for canceling utilities, rebuilding, DMV, I mean, it's insurance information, property tax.
In another sign of progress, Pacific Gas and Electric Company officials say by later today, they expect to have restored power to all of its customers in the fire zones. Seth Lemon, CBS News.
Over 300 people are dead after a truck bombing in Somalia's capital, with authorities calling it the world's worst attack in years. More than 400 people are also injured after Saturday's bombing targeted a crowded street in the town of Mogadishu. Hospitals have struggled to assist their mass amount of victims, and doctors find it difficult to stay awake to aid their patients. Government officials are blaming Al-Qaeda, which has been Africa's deadliest Islamic extremist group. And former Hurricane Ophelia, now a post-tropical cyclone, has made landfall in Ireland, and there are reports of 100,000 homes and businesses without power. It's become the most severe weather event to hit the country in more than half a century. Seth Lemon has more from New York.
Tropical storm Ophelia's winds battered Ireland's southern coast Monday, knocking down trees and power lines. Once a hurricane, Ophelia weakened late Sunday and was downgraded to a post-tropical cyclone. Ireland's meteorological service tweeted this morning, writing in part, violent and destructive gusts of 120 to 150 kilometers an hour are forecast countrywide. That's 75 to 90 miles per hour. Authorities ordered all schools in the country to close.
We hope that all our students and staff and everyone heeds the advice, stays safe, stays indoors, and we'll see everyone back in school, please God, on Tuesday morning.
Officials are warning drivers to stay off the roads. Ferries between Ireland and Britain are canceled. The U.S. National Hurricane Center said the storm would bring 2 to 3 inches of rain to Ireland and Scotland, with coastal flooding and destructive waves.
We expect a significant number of trees to fall in our network. That will obviously disconnect electricity to our customers, but we may have live wires on the ground.
As crews stand by, forecasters are warning folks not to underestimate the ex-hurricane's strength. Seth Lemon, CBS News.
The Weinstein Company, besieged by sexual harassment allegations against its namesake and co-founder, may be putting itself up for sale. The company said today that it will receive an immediate cash infusion from Colony Capital and is in negotiation for the potential sale of all or a significant portion of the company. Harvey Weinstein was fired last week by the film production company he helped create. The allegations of sexual harassment and assault against Weinstein span decades and include many of the film industry's leading actresses. Law enforcement in the U.S. and Europe are taking a new look at past allegations. The Academy of Motion Picture Arts and Sciences has revoked his membership, as has the British Academy of Film and Television Arts. More than 30 women, including actresses Angelina Jolie, Ashley Judd, and Gwyneth Paltrow, have spoken out against Weinstein. And stay tuned, because after the break, we'll be back with your weather and sports.
Iraqi troops are pushing deeper into Mosul in their offensive.
A deadly fight to save a city. Street by street with Iraqi special forces as they try to drive out ISIS. Frontline goes inside the fight for Mosul.
Wednesday at 10 after Nova on Public TV 13.
Welcome back. It's absolutely a beautiful day. The time is approximately 4:10, and we're looking outside at our sky cam. It's a little bit cloudy as the sun will come out soon. So currently it is slightly sunny with a temperature of 54 degrees and winds southwest at 10 miles an hour with a barometric pressure of 30.414 and falling. And tonight it will be partly cloudy with a low of 46 degrees, winds southwest at 15 miles an hour. And tomorrow we are looking at some clouds with a high of 66 degrees, winds west at 10 to 15 miles an hour. Now, as we take a look at the current temperatures in the UP, it is 51 degrees over here in Sault Ste. Marie. Manistee, it is 53 degrees. Down in Escanaba, it is 53 degrees, as well as Menominee and Iron Mountain. In the western half, we have 52 degrees in Ironwood. Up in the Keweenaw, it is 53 degrees, and in our hometown of Marquette, 54 degrees and sunny. Looking forward, Wednesday, we're looking at a high of 69 degrees, a low of 44 and mostly sunny. Thursday, we're looking at a high of 63 degrees, a low of 48 and partly cloudy. And Friday, we're looking at a high of 70 degrees, a low of 54 degrees and mostly sunny. Well, after a long weekend of cold and rain, I hear we have some good news for NMU hockey.
A spectacular weekend it was. A great weekend for NMU hockey as they won both their matchups against WCHA opponent Ferris State. The Wildcats defeated the Bulldogs 3-2 on Friday night, and goaltender Atte Tolvanen recorded a 40-save shutout in the 1-0 win on Saturday, the 7th shutout of his career. Saturday's matchup was scoreless until the last possible second, until sophomore forward Darian Craighead buried a shot with half a second remaining to seal the win for the Wildcats. The Wildcats now look to next weekend for a series against the Wisconsin Badgers to be played in the Resch Center in Green Bay. If college football's Week 7 proved anything, it's that nobody is safe. 4 top 10 teams fell in shocking upsets. It started on Friday after the number 2 ranked Clemson Tigers fell to the Syracuse Orange 27-24 after Clemson's starting quarterback Kelly Bryant went down with a concussion in the first half. Later that same night, the 8th ranked Washington State Cougars were blown out by the Golden Bears of California 37-3. The 10th ranked Auburn Tigers lost a close one at Louisiana State 27-23 after blowing a 20-point lead in Tiger Stadium. And finally, the 5th ranked Washington Huskies were defeated by the Arizona State Sun Devils 13-7 after a stellar defensive outing from ASU. The Huskies were plagued by kicking problems as they missed 2 field goals from 27 and 21 yards out. The upsets have dramatically altered the playoff picture as Alabama, Penn State, Georgia, and TCU now sit atop the rankings, with Wisconsin and Ohio State on the outside looking in at 5 and 6, respectively. And it was a rough weekend of football for the Green Bay Packers as they lost on the road in Minnesota, 23-10. Fans of the Packers are not nearly as bummed about the loss as they are about the player they lost. Aaron Rodgers is out for the season with a broken collarbone. Rodgers landed on his throwing shoulder after being hit by Vikings linebacker Anthony Barr in the first quarter. Packers head coach Mike McCarthy stated in the postgame press conference that the team will stick with backup quarterback Brett Hundley moving forward. The Pack will host Drew Brees and the Saints next week before their next divisional matchup the following week against the Detroit Lions. And with that, that's all the time we have for you today. Thank you very much for joining us on this edition of Public Eye News, and we'll see you all next time.
The preceding program was produced in studios located in the Edgar L. Hardin Learning Resources Center by WNMU-TV, Northern Michigan University Public Television.